Yo, 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 yo. What's up? It's Gabriel Greene of Shameless Plug here doing my Between the Green Sports podcast, weekly sports podcast. This it seems like since I've picked a good time to start because it's been like, really, really a lot going on in sports recently. And this week was really, really no different. Enough with the intro. Let's get right into it. First of all, if I can ask anybody to do anything, I want you to pray for all the strippers in Texas because James Harden is gone. And I want you to wish you were a stripper in New York because, they're moving to Soho now. Like, he's really helping that New York economy due to the shutout because this nigga's in Brooklyn now, ladies and gentlemen. James Harden is a net. He's teaming up with Kyrie Irving, and he's back with Kevin Durant. In the trade, Karis LeVert goes to Indiana, and Victor Oladipo goes to Houston. I'll get to that in a minute. But just, first two games with Harden, he's played pretty well. Scored over 30 in both games. They won both games. The game last night as I'm recording this, I should say, against Milwaukee, it felt like a playoff game. It was intense. KD had a game winner. They look good. Granted, Kyrie's not back. Kyrie comes back tomorrow, Wednesday. So we haven't seen the full team, but even just KD and Harden, that's pretty good. And I think with Kyrie and I think with all three of them healthy, they should be the title favorite. We have no reason not to believe that. Like offensively, I think they can really make it work. I know the one complaint a lot of people have on the offensive side is there's only one ball. And that would work, but we've seen KD be a very good off-ball player, whether it was with Westbrook or with Curry and the Warriors, with, a motion-based offense. He still gets his ISOs, and he'll still get them. We've seen Kyrie do it with LeBron. Harden, not as much, but Harden, I think, will be the main guy. I think he'll be the leading scorer. If I were to bet for this team, he'll be like their main scorer. But I think in the clutch, all three of those guys can really get it done. I trust Kyrie and KD more than Harden for that. But all in all, I really like this move for Brooklyn. You did trade, a lot of picks, 4 picks, and then 4 picks straight up, and then it was like some pick swaps and everything. So, that is a lot, but, I think they'll get at least one championship out of that. And if you can get these guys to resign, it's worth it. But if they do leave, you don't get a championship. You're basically where you are after the Paul Pierce and KG trade. And as we know, Brooklyn did, like, Sean Marks did a great job handling that, but it wasn't ideal years for Brooklyn. And then I want to talk about the defense before I get to the rest of this. We've seen KD being a great defender, and we've seen Harden's a good on-ball defender when he wants to be. Off-ball, he tends to fall asleep, and he's a really good post defender for a guard. Kyrie can play team defense. Joe Harris at least tries on defense. DeAndre Jordan used to be a good defender, and that is where my issue is. Jordan, he used to have it on defense. He just simply doesn't anymore. And, it sucks to say that. I really like DeAndre Jordan on those Lob City teams, but it's no longer who DeAndre Jordan is as a defender. So, they don't have any real way to get another big man, but if they can just make it work as a team, we'll see. Like a lot of the strategies, whether it's building a wall against a guy like Giannis, do they have what it takes to do that? I don't know. Is Steve Nash a good enough defensive coach? We don't know. So all these things, will come into fruition come playoff time. But I think the regular season really just time for them to gel, figure this all out. I expect these guys to get decent, their minutes to be lower than normally and stuff like that. Harden can finally get some rest now. He won't be gassed come playoff time, hopefully. Real quick, the Rockets got Victor Oladipo. And this is like a multiple team deal. If him and Wall stay healthy, I think this is a playoff team still. You still got Christian Wood, you got Boogie. PJ Tucker is probably on his way out. But whether or not they even keep him for the rest of the season or past the season, who knows? But Vic played really, really good. I think it was last night. He had a 30-point game. So yeah, I like the Oladipo Wall backcourt. I think they're very athletic, and Houston might be better just off the chemistry being better alone. Like that might just be enough to help the team. And my boy Karis LeVert, shout out him. He went to Michigan. I'm a big Karis LeVert fan. He's a Pacer now. He's one of those cursed players where he's always getting injured, but the injuries don't relate. Like how Gordon Hayward is always hurt. Like he'll break his hand and he'll break his leg, and he'll hurt his other leg. Like his injuries are unrelated. You say the same thing for Karis. He has a mass on his kidney. He says he feels okay, but sounds serious. I'm no doctor. I'm not Brian Suter or whatever his name is, but he's a cursed player. But Indiana, you got another young guard, another perimeter guy. Losing Oladipo kind of sucks. I don't know where the future of that team is. But yeah, that's really all I want to say about the NBA for now. More and more I'll get more into the NBA, but this is a short show and there's a lot going on. Real quick, Tennessee football. You get my L of the week. I'm gonna start giving out awards on this show. You get my L of the week. So they fired Jeremy Pruitt, who I think was 15 and 17 as the coach, because they were putting. So when recruits come to visit the school, they come put on the jerseys. Usually they go to a game if it's during the season, all that stuff. They'll put cash in McDonald's bags and give it to them. And I'm assuming this is just him and not Butcher Jones as well. They've only recruited inside the top 10 once since he's been there, and they were 10th. And they went 3-7 this last year. So the strategy's not even working. Like, you're not even cheating and it's working. So yeah, Jeremy Pruitt's out. I'm sure he'll be out of out for a couple of years, and then time heals all. People forget this happened. He'll get a coordinator job. I think Tom Herman, I feel like this is a good fit for Tom Herman. If Tom Herman wants to get right back in the head coaching gig, there you go. If Tom Herman wants to be a coordinator elsewhere, could also do that. But Tennessee's a very good job. It's not as good as Texas, but I mean, to be able to go from Texas, to get fired at Texas and then go to Tennessee is pretty good for Tom Herman, and this is all aligning perfectly for him. So we'll have to see for that. And then speaking of college coaches, but I guess transition to the NFL, Urban Meyer took the Jaguars job. I hate Urban Meyer. I loved him on Fox. I think he's a great analyst. I think he's a very, very smart guy. It's just he coached at Ohio State. And there has been scandal following him everywhere he's been, whether it was at Florida, whether, the way he left Ohio State with the assistant whose name I can't remember, who piece of shit, let's just be honest. He takes the Jaguars job, and you imagine the reason he took the job, and he even says, the number one pick. What you imagine is Trevor Lawrence. I do want to say, everybody's like, oh, he took the job. Maybe they draft Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the Ohio State quarterback. I want to say Ryan Day recruited Justin Fields to leave Georgia and come to Ohio State. Ryan Day coached him. Urban Meyer never recruited him to go there. Well, maybe he did when Fields was a high school player. But Urban Meyer wasn't doing that. And Urban Meyer never coached him. Ryan Day did that. So it's important we make that distinction. Just because Ohio State doesn't mean he'll draft the guy. And even if you listen to Urban talk about Trevor Lawrence, he holds him in a very, very high regard. So I believe Trevor Lawrence will be the quarterback. They have a lot of cap space. They have some young guys. And I actually think this will work. Nick Saban, sure, he didn't work in the NFL. But, I think Urban Meyer will be patient. And he'll be able to grow with the team. These are a lot of young guys on this team, whether it's Chark, Henderson, I guess Lawrence and whoever else they draft because they have a few draft picks, free agents and whatever. I think Urban Meyer, he'll be able to grow with the team. The one thing we know he can do is develop talent. Another thing is he's very good at hiring people. So I believe he'll get some good coaches around him who have been in the NFL. He studies the NFL game. All in all, I think he'll be good. Urban Meyer, to me, I've said it before, but I think he's the best game planner. He was the best game planner in college football, more so than, a Dabo or a Saban. I think he's just great at devising game plans. No matter, his team's a revolving door of assistants, but he does a great job of just game planning. He does a better job than other guys at game planning. So yeah, all in all, I like this fit. He gets to coach Trevor Lawrence, and I think he'll grow with the team. And again, be patient. This is he's never had a losing record in his life as a coach. And the NFL, you're designed to be 500. Where in college, 500 is bad. Where in the NFL, you're designed to be, if you're over 500, you're good. If you're below it, you're not good. And so this is, a different game. But all in all, I think this is the perfect job. It is interesting how he could have gotten the Texas job this year. He could have gotten, and probably last year, they would have moved off Herman for him. And he could have gotten the USC job. They would have moved off Clay Helton for him. But I think Urban really, really wanted to be in the NFL. He talks about he's been studying the game. Again, Texas and USC, two of the best jobs in the sport. And I'm sure there's other jobs he could have inquired about, and they would have fired somebody for him. But I like it. He's back in Florida. He's a legend in the state of Florida for, those years with Tim Tebow and everything. But, yeah. Now I want to transition to the NFL, and this is a sad, sad moment. ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong. I'm 11 for 12 in picks. I picked the Cleveland Browns to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They were close. They beat themselves. They had drops early in the game. Nick Chubb dropped 2 passes that really, really hurt them. There was the helmet to helmet call, which, they fumble in the end zone, and arguably the worst rule in sports where it's a touchback and Kansas City gets the ball. I think they were bad on defense until Mahomes got injured, and I'll get to that in a sec. But I was wrong. So I guess we can just I wasn't gonna start with that, but I guess we can start in the AFC. It was a good win. Cleveland's defense couldn't stop anything. They were able to hold them to 3 a couple times, and there were some missed kicks in there, but offensively it just didn't look good. Second half, Nick Chubb did get going, and they were able to score, but it wasn't enough. Chad Henne, he had a horrible interception, but he had a huge run to get it to 4th and inches, and then he threw a nice little out route, I guess it would be like a 3-yard out or whatever to Tyreek Hill on 4th and inches to seal the game, and they could just knee it from there. Man, Chad Henne has balls. I'll give him that. But good win for them. And then if you look at the other game in the AFC, Buffalo beat the Ravens, and it was really a defensive game. Lamar did get hurt, just like Patrick Mahomes, but they were trying to run the ball. Baltimore was trying to run the ball, and Buffalo was just stacking the box. And I know Baltimore's receivers are bad, and I know Lamar Jackson's not a pass first guy, but they didn't even. They're too reliant on a certain way to play. I said this when Jacob was here. Some teams have to win a certain way. Tennessee was that way. Whereas a team like Buffalo can win multiple ways. They can win a shootout or a low-scoring game. Kansas City can win anyway. And I didn't love the game planning. I do like John Harbaugh. I didn't love the game plan that he devised there. But it is what it is. They lose to ultimately a better team. So Buffalo goes to Kansas City in a wild game. The 2 best quarterbacks in the AFC, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Buffalo's great. Kansas City's great. Once again, the run game here I think really does matter. I talk about run game a lot, but these teams are very inconsistent running the ball. And I do think whoever runs the ball better will win. And for that reason, I got to go Kansas City. I trust Patrick Mahomes too much. 31-24. I think it's a good game. I think it's a comeback win. Reminiscent of last year, I think they're down big early, and Kansas City just gets it going. And I think Tyrann Mathieu, he makes a couple of big plays. I think Frank Clark and that Chris Jones and that great D line are able to really, really shut down. Not shut down, but slow down Buffalo once they get in the groove. 31-24. Kansas City is back in the Super Bowl. Now, if we can switch to the other side of the NFL, the NFC, the Green Bay Packers beat the Rams 32-18. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams were great in this game. They moved Devontae around a lot to slow down the one-on-one with Jalen. But even with that, Aaron Jones had some big plays. Aaron Donald was hurt, and he just wasn't himself visibly. He was hurt, but they did a good job. I mean, hurt Aaron Donald's still like a top 5 player in the NFL. Like, he's the best player in the NFL probably. And yeah, they play really well, and they'll play Tampa Bay, who's coming off a really nice defensive performance against the Saints. They're able to really slow down Drew Brees, who I'll get to Drew Brees in a second. But Brady, I thought he was okay in this game, but there's something missing with this team. I know AB was hurt, but there's something off about this offense. It is not the run game, because they actually did okay running the football between Fournette and Ronald Jones, but it's something off about this offense. I don't know what it is. It's just something missing. And for that reason, I am going to go Green Bay here. Freezing Lambeau, all that stuff. Tampa's offense is going to have to be really good, and I don't think they will. I think they go win 38-31. Last time these teams played, Tampa did get a blowout win. I think this game will be different. I'm going to go 38-31 Green Bay in a fantastic game. I think Aaron Rodgers puts together a drive with under a minute left to win it. Drew Brees retired. It appears Drew Brees is retiring. So congratulations, Drew, on a great career. I don't agree on your politics. Fuck you. But I'm kidding, Drew. But everything he did for the city of New Orleans was huge. He really changed the the culture of that team, and he came in at a time when they really needed it with Katrina and everything. I mean, I almost get goosebumps thinking of, I can't remember his name, but the block punt against Atlanta in the first game since Katrina. It was wild, and Drew Brees, he did a lot for the city of New Orleans, a city I love, a city I visit typically yearly. Um, shout out to Drew Brees and everything. Hall of Fame career, a leader in most passing stats. I imagine if Brady plays next year, he passes him in a lot of those. But hell of a career for Drew Brees, man. It didn't go out well, but that's how you go out as a quarterback. Tom Brady's an anomaly of how well you play late in your career. And who knows, when Tom Brady goes out, maybe he'll be that way. He'll just be 50 years old. But that's what you look like when you're pushing 40. I mean, that's how Brett Favre looked. That's the reality of it as a quarterback. So, yeah, great career for Drew Brees. The Saints are in probably the weirdest situation ever because they have $0 to do anything. They're $100 million over the cap, which I don't even know how that happens. Like, the cap is a myth in the NFL. I've said it before. Like, the cap makes no sense because then you can just cut guys and, all that stuff. Like, if you want a guy, you can get him in the NFL. Where in the NBA, sometimes, the money just won't work. But, yeah, tough way for Drew Brees to go out. But I do believe we'll have a Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl, which is great. I do believe Aaron Rodgers should be the MVP. And next week I'll do my award winners. After we get these games and we have the Super Bowl matchup, I will do my award winners, some of the regular awards and some of my made up ones. Yeah, that's really all I want to talk about in the sports world for this week. Shout out to the Lions. I will do a separate thing on that. Probably an audio podcast on all the hires the Lions made, but I do like them. And yeah, I believe that's all I really have. You guys have a great weekend, a great week, I should say. If you're bored, watch some old Shameless videos. Yeah, Xavier in the background saying yes, sir. It's not me. It's the producer. It's the interns, right? Yeah, watch some Shameless videos. Watch Shameless Grub on Instagram. Have you guys part 2 coming soon? Yeah. And then, yeah, you said, we're doing 3 parts?
Like 3 10-minute parts, then the whole one's going to be on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, Shameless Grub, yeah. So, yeah, you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.